Welcome to day 3 of the 30-day Noobie improvement journey. In today's video we're practicing shotgun aim, and in all videos I'll show you how I'm practicing. We'll use what we've learnt in the team rumble, and then we'll have 10 solo games to try and get my first solo win. And as always I'll show you tips that I found most useful at the end of the video. Let's do it. So for today's practice we're jumping into a creative map which I quickly created. It literally only took about 10 minutes just to get ready. I've got a chest here with a shotgun and some healables, so that's all we need for this, and we can use this for different ways, but we've got 2 buildings over there. They've both got enemies in that we can practice shooting at in different rooms, and that's really probably the bit that I found the most useful. Here's some enemies over there, and then we've got some zombies over there that will spawn when we get closer to them. So they're going to be giving us 3 different types of practice. So before we start, we've got a couple of things that I found that I keep on doing, and that's one of them is looking down when I'm running around. So I'm trying to, instead of doing that, I'm trying to look up at head height more. So instead of looking down, just adjust the cursor so you're looking more up, and I'm going to try in all my games from now on, try and make sure that I'm always looking ahead more at head height, so that if someone comes into range, then I am already in a position to shoot and get them at head height. If you see any of my last 2 days of the journey, you'll notice that a lot of the shots that I made, I was shooting the legs, at the body, and obviously you get more points for shooting at the head. So by aiming up at the head like we did there, straight away you got extra points for shooting at the head. So really top tip there, and that's one thing that I've found the most use of so far is just looking at the right height to start with before getting into the engagement. So what we're doing here is we're getting into engagement. We're trying to use the right hand peek where we can, and again that is something that has been a really useful thing for me when I've been practicing on this map. Just using the right hand peek has been absolutely brilliant for me, and something that I've not always done, so I'm going to try and always use the right hand peek when I'm shooting, practicing from here on. Then what we're doing is whenever we shoot we're going to try and build. Okay, so shoot, build, shoot, build, and that's what I'm going to try and do for all of these. Now that was a left hand peek, and you can see that I was vulnerable all the way through that, so again I'm going to try and get better at that. This is all practice, so I'm not saying that I'm excellent, I'm not a pro player or anywhere close. I am rubbish at this game, and that's why I'm doing this newbie challenge. So this is me showing you how I'm going to try and get better at the game, because I know that I'm not good enough. So if you've seen the other 2 videos, you'll certainly know that I've not been good at the game, and certainly found lacking in skills in Fortnite. So this is what it's all about. So again, we're just in that height. I was looking down. Let's look up and shoot, build. Right hand peek, shoot. Okay, and this is what we're practicing. We've got 8 enemies here that we're going to practice, and I've just been doing this a few times. Each time I've done it, I've reset it and started it again, trying to do it in different ways. And this is one of the things I've learned, is when you're jumping you're exposing obviously a lot of your body, and really not the best technique. I'm going to keep practicing it like that. If you can surprise somebody, I think it's worth doing, but when they know you're there, quite often a good player will be expecting you, and I've been caught out quite a few times when I've jumped over trying to shoot, and it's not really worked for me. So but if you can get your aim on, I think it works quite well, but my aim is always not that great. So I've just reset the game here, and I'm now doing exactly the same as what I did before, but I'm starting from a height. So I'm building up first and I'm shooting down, and it's just practicing looking down over your ramp and getting used to being above and looking down. And there you see I jumped and got caught out again, so it's getting used to having the aim of the shotgun down, so that when you do jump or when you are looking down you are aiming already, so that when you jump up you're then looking at the right point to shoot and be accurate. So again, this is all just practice, and it's just a case of doing this over and over again. And I spent in total about an hour doing this, and just within that hour I found so much improvement. So here I'm kind of lining up the shot so I can run and get the angle right, and then run up, and by the time the enemy gets in my view, then I'm lined up to shoot. So it's getting those angles right and just trying to practice that. So that's what I'm doing here. So this is where you experiment, and I found this really useful. This just doing this thing. So in terms of setting up the practice here, it really didn't take long at all. I just literally jumped into the map. Anyone who's played a bit of Fortnite, I mean, this is the first time I've really used creative, and if I can work it out in 10 minutes, it's anyone can do it, to be honest. So here we're practicing the jump shot, and that is aiming in advance at the angle that you're ready for, and then this is just practicing letting them shoot the ramp or floor away and being ready to shoot as soon as they've broken your floor. Here we're just breaking and doing a jump off the ramp, so we're running and practicing jumps off and turning and shooting. So there's 3 things straight away that I found really useful to practice, and I'm going to keep on practicing those because they're probably the first few attempts that I've had here, but really useful, those little things, just getting used to the angles to turn. So I found that really useful. So these are the buildings where we've got enemies within, and you can tackle from different angles. I started on the floor, worked up. This one I've worked down from the roof, and again practicing the right hand peek, and it's quite useful. Initially I didn't like it, but I've allowed the enemies to shoot the walls away, so where I've got people all over me, all over and around in the house, they're shooting walls when they're aiming for me, and quite often I'm surprised when all of a sudden there's a wall that's broken and I've had to turn and try and defend myself, and that's actually been really, although it's been a lot harder, it has been really helpful. And then I've been using, obviously I've got unlimited ammo and unlimited wars and that, but again trying to shoot then build all the time. So really helpful. So I recommend trying these if you haven't already, or just go into a creative map that you like to use. I'm not too familiar with any of the others that other people have done, but this is just something that I've thought, I know that this is a real game scenario in and around houses and that, so I thought it would be a good idea to try it like this rather than just running around a map that's not realistic to an actual game. So I found this really helpful. So you notice that I'm trying to do a few edits here, and when I was outside we put up a few walls and edited them and put a window in and all that, so I've been doing that quite a bit here, and that's probably the only edit that I can do relatively quickly. Still a bit slow, but most confident edit is the wall window edit, and I think certainly probably, well, in the next few days we'll be doing some editing practice, because I do want to get better at that, and it makes sense to focus on doing some window edits and ramp edits and all these sort of things. But I think we're at day 3 now. Day 4 I'm planning on doing some AR aiming, because you know that is quite a big part, and I know that my aiming is way off on that, and it is different to shotgun aim. So I'm going to be doing a AR day on day 4, but I think possibly day 5 will be an editing course. I haven't decided yet, but it makes sense to, because quite often I am getting caught out by other players who are very quick at editing, and quite often they'll build up to me or around me or something, and next thing I know they've edited their way through and have shot me, and you know, I'm not quick enough to edit my way out or do anything like that. So I do need to get better at that and certainly focus some time, and I think that will make a real difference. And you know, here you can see that we've moved into a team rumble game, which is what we do every day, so we're always going to have a practice and then get into a team rumble to try and put ourselves in a game situation so we can practice what we've learned. And this is what we're doing here. So I got quite a few, well, for me, quite a few kills. I think in the end of this team rumble game I got 8 possibly, which I know is not very much for a lot of people, but for me it was just one game where I got into it, and pretty much all the kills were with the shotgun as well, because I was focusing on using the shotgun. So I'm happy with 8, considering my usual is normally less than that. So one team rumble game, then we went into the 10 games to try and get my first solo win, and this is what we're trying to do here. Now I don't need to try and use the shotgun for that. It's just any old way that I can do it with this. So the aim of course is to jump in, as always, jump in pretty quickly off the bus, try and get into always land at a named location so that we're putting ourselves under pressure straight away. And you'll see on actually, do you see that on game 1 there? I'm still making silly mistakes where I meant to pull out the shotgun, and in the end I pulled out the grappler thing that I ended up shooting the grappler instead of the shotgun, so that wasn't very good at all. So I'm still making silly mistakes, but things like that those shotguns, they both hit and were on target, and usually I would miss those. So I think I'm certainly feeling as though I'm improving. The amount of kills is slowly increasing, and I feel in more confident certainly in the game. So actually this game is, I got into the last 3, and that I only got 1 kill, but I just didn't really run into anyone. And that's the way it works out, I guess, sometimes. But stupidly put myself in between 2 players there, so I sandwiched myself a little bit, which was a bit silly. So looking back, I know I should have handled that a lot differently. Still making silly mistakes like that, but then look at this. That was more confident for me. I threw myself into that situation there where I could see somebody had a campfire, and I thought I'd be a bit aggressive trying to get myself in there. It didn't pay off, but confidence is actually growing, and I feel that it's worth these practicing, even though it's only been 3 days, which is probably equivalent of 6 hours of practicing actually. So not a lot at all, but what we've been doing is making the most of the time available to practice, and that's the key for me. Is beforehand I was just running around the map and farming materials and that, and didn't really get into many engagements, whereas here I'm forcing myself to get into engagements. So giving myself plenty of practice and putting myself in a situation of having to battle with people, and so I think certainly progress being made. Please do let me know in the comments whether you feel perhaps getting any better, and do suggest anything that you think might be worth me giving it a go, or if you've got any suggestions on what I should be practicing. This is, if you look at this, I'm about to get sniped. I'm in the top of a tower, and I didn't put any surround around me, which is one of the things that I put in the tips for yesterday's video. So I need to remember the things like that which I've learned, and need to put them in practice to make the difference. And certainly it's still a learning curve for me, but I certainly feel as though I'm getting better. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, you're not doing as well as you want to be, and you're not getting any wins, or maybe you haven't got your first solo win and you want to get better, then let me know if you're finding any of these tips useful. But what I did was I used to watch these tips videos and then not do anything that I've learned within it. It's more entertainment watching it, thinking, I've learned something there, but I didn't actually use it and go into a game and try and do it. So that's one of the things I found here, is actually I've done it and it's been useful, and I'm getting better from it. It is slow progress, but it is progress nonetheless. So, and here you can see I didn't even realise there was somebody behind me. They were hitting the floor behind me. I didn't even notice, and next thing I know, I've been killed. So we're at the end of the video, and I'll leave you with the 7 tips on how to get better with shotgun aim, as I found most useful in the practice that I was doing. And if you found any benefit or value in this video or any of the other 2, then please do subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell and like the video. I would appreciate it. And if you would be interested in joining the 30-day improvement journey with me, then do comment below and let me know how you're getting on. Okay, I'll see you in day 4. Thanks.